extra shout out goes to President Donald Trump, who today had their little Easter celebration. Erica Kirk was in attendance, and he told her he should sue people that are making fun of her because they're jealous of her. It's like how far they fall, how far they fall. He's like fully Jewish now, I think, like he's just like, it's all of the Israelis. Sue if your feelings are hurt. Sue. That's like, I think Ben Shapiro to that show. She should sue her. What a way to honor Holy Week. Sue them. Everybody's just jealous of you. It's like, there's something that's just so middle school about this. It's we want to know who killed Charlie Kirk. So could you park aside the lawyers and get information for us, Trump? No, you can't do that, can you?
Donald Trump's being blackmailed by the Jews? What's your evidence of that? Donald Trump sacrificed Charlie Kirk. What's your evidence for that? It's really that simple. I will tell you, there is no answer. You won't get one. You'll get speculation. You'll get rabbit trails. You will not get evidence. These are huge claims. And we would always treat claims this huge with the same kind of discretion, same kind of skepticism, because the left makes those claims. You guys remember this, right? The left said Donald Trump's a Nazi and a fascist. The left said he's a danger to democracy. The left said he needed to be impeached. The left said he was a foreign agent. You guys know this, right? Like, that's what they did. Now we see these people doing it with, similar to the left, no evidence. Is it possible that people have differences of opinions? Hey, let me just ask, not only is it possible, historically, has that always been the case, even within a party? Can we allow for that without saying that he murdered Charlie Kirk, sacrificed, or is being blackmailed by the Jews? Hey, maybe one or both of those things are true. There has to be evidence for it, though. We have just as much evidence that it's completely untrue as we do that it's true. And you have people now going out and wanting to impeach the president of the United States based on zero evidence. That's the problem. And so if you look at this group collectively, and I honestly, I will tell you this, I don't think there's been anything more damaging to the wide, I guess I should say, really the wide umbrella, the coalition that Donald Trump has created, because before that, the Republican Party was kind of on its last legs. Mitt Romney, John McCain, Paul Ryan, we went through that. I don't think there's been anything more damaging than those who claim to be on our side, parroting the left with maybe a little bit of a different spin and demanding that it all be burned down while offering no viable solution. You guys let me know whether you agree with someone's stance on Iran or Israel, or Donald Trump's stance on Iran or Israel, or it's a mix therein. Do you think there's been anything more damaging? Do you think that the left has been as damaging to MAGA? We've kind of become impervious, Teflon to that. But this infighting, that's a problem. It better be based on evidence.
So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war,
pause.
That's a...
You mean the installed religion? Because historically, I don't know if you noticed, the Persians weren't all Muslim people. There's a history of Zoroastrianism, and you guys can get into it. But anyway, it's just, I guess, splitting hairs. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Islam has always been an installed religion. It's kind of new. Let's keep going.
Good idea. But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions.
Now,
disagree.
How far they fall. He's like fully Jewish now, I think, like he's just like, it's all of the Israelis. Sue if your feelings are hurt. Sue.
But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself.
I think they're getting,
Incorrect.
They see these ostracized, they see these communities of people out there getting abused and shit, and I think it reflects in them somewhere,
It's a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity.
Pause. No, Islam is a mockery of Christianity. This is the sleight of hand. Islam says, by the way, all that stuff that's in the New Testament about Jesus Christ being divine, dying on the cross for sins, resurrecting, none of that happened. The people of the book, Jews and Christians, lied about it. Islam is quite literally blasphemous toward Christianity. Doesn't mean that I want to force them to meet their maker as they do me. But to say that mocking a religion that tries to remove the entire basis of yours is to mock Christianity, the mental gymnastics, they should be 12-year-old Chinese girls taping down their breasts to make it through the trials. Let's go to the next one.
Send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it. You are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is
true.
Evil. That is an intentional desecration of beauty and truth, which is the definition of evil.
Even though Donald Trump has shattered his coalition by lying us into this stupid war on behalf of a foreign country, that coalition is still right for someone else to pick it up and run with it.
My concern is that this is evidence that he is not in control. He is not in control as commander-in-chief of his own armed forces.
This is the greatest about face in political history that I have really ever seen.
He hasn't been saying Iran can't have a nuke since the 80s.
It feels like theater.
Nobody's been more
It
consistent
feels like
than Trump.
It's been theater for a while. And it feels like, maybe this is crazy, but it feels like we're at the last cusp before something weird is going to happen. Didn't you say something weird might happen, Jamie?
You could have a global nuclear war. That's why we haven't used nuclear weapons in 80 years. No one has. Because you don't know where it goes from there. This is insane. Okay? This is insane. It's hard to believe you even need to say this out loud. Oh, but you do. Because all things being equal, that's where we're heading.
I hope Thomas Massie runs for president. I think, by the way, they're doing a big money bomb for Thomas Massie on March 30th. And I think him winning re-election in Congress is like the most important political election in the country right now.
Sue them. Sue them. Everybody's just jealous of you. It's like there's something that's just so middle school about this. It's no, we want to know who killed Charlie Kirk. So could you park aside the lawyers and get information for us?
Tyler Robinson's parents
do. No, you can't do that, can you?
The Democrats and them in the midterms, that's a side issue now compared to existential threat. How do we 25th Amendment his ass?
You see, there's a lot of brown people getting murdered on TikTok all the time, like, in the Middle East. And I think you see that.
The regime by 40,000 people.
It activates.
Yeah. But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job.
Yeah, he said to mock anyone's religion is to mock religion itself. No, you should never mock anybody's religion. Well, again, you can consider it a luxury or cross to bear. I've grown up here in the public eye. I have never been shy to criticize and mock Islam, and I stand by it.
Well, Muhammad did have slaves. He did slaughter a few hundred Jews, and some of his last words were cursing the Jewish and Christian people. I'm still not seeing how someone could interpret this religion as violent.
And there we go, Aisha with a black eye and a fat lip. Oh, look at that picture.
And in the spirit of full disclosure, Muhammad had many wives.
Not Muhammad! Who is me? Shut up! You don't know the boss of me! That was, in fact, Gerald. He was the only person. He was the only person willing to be in that sketch. Everyone was like.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean we take their oil?
You go in. You're
how
do
we go in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me. Yeah? You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
I think that nobody's really hitting it right. The Democrats are too far left. I mean, Bill Bradley, this is seriously left. He's trying to come a little more center, but he's seriously left. The Republicans are too far right. And I don't think anybody's hitting the chord. Not the chord that I want to hear, and not the chord that other people want to hear. And I've seen it. Plus, I think there's a great lack of spirit in this country. What's happened over the last 4 years is disgusting. And I just think there's a tremendous lack of spirit. And I think the spirit has to be brought back.
Do you have a vice presidential candidate in mind?
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
It's just
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice. Oprah, your competitor, right?
Oprah's a competitor.
You know what?
No
I'll tell you, she's really a great woman, though. She is a terrific woman. She's somebody that's very special. I have not even thought about it. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's part of the whole process.
Would she be kidding aside, that you might think
if
about?
she'd do it, she'd be fantastic. I mean, she's popular, she's brilliant, she's a wonderful woman. I mean, if she'd ever do it, I don't know that she'd ever do it. She's got.
You'd ask her.
She'd be sort of like me. I mean, I have a lot of things going. She's got a lot of things going.
What a ticket
that would be a pretty good ticket. But she's a very exceptional woman.
We've upset our allies. We've pleased Israel, although now they're upset there's a ceasefire. We've upset the American base. The Trump coalition that got him elected is completely fractured and in smithereens. And he doesn't care, Piers, because he doesn't care about the Republican Party. He cares about himself. If Trump had to get reelected, he probably would have handled this a little differently. But he doesn't care that the Republicans are going to lose the midterms. I think he thought that was a foregone conclusion. And I don't think he cares that J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio wins the presidency next time around. I think there's a piece of Trump that would like to say, I'm the only one who could do it. The Republican Party's nothing without me. And the rest of us are going to be around to pick up the pieces.
Okay. I understand that perspective, but let me present something to you. There really was no Republican coalition as you know it right now before Donald Trump. I think people, we compare very often, go like, well, you would rather have Kamala Harris. Let's compare President Trump, J.D. Vance, people like Rubio, notable people in the Republican Party right now, this administration, to other Republicans, not just Democrats. Do you remember how crappy it was? Need I remind you, Mitt Romney? Ugh. Mitt Romney won a primary. Do you guys know that? He was the candidate.
That unbuttered biscuit?
Yes, Mitt Romney. By the way, that guy voted to impeach Trump twice.
Wow.
And back then, of course, you thought that was betrayal because it was Donald Trump. It was a witch hunt. He also, by the way, was the one who created the blueprint for Obamacare in Massachusetts, right? Romney Care. And I will say, of course, it's different to do it on a state basis, but this guy has proven himself to be a leftist on many issues. And he even admitted, without Romney Care, I don't think we would have Obamacare. And then if you want to compare, because right now people are saying the base is fractured and Donald Trump is a betrayer, really just because of Iran. Can we be clear about that? It's really because of Iran. That's why people are saying he's betrayed his base.
Yeah.
And we need to oust him and find someone better. Let's compare the foreign policy. Remember, Mitt Romney has almost never met some kind of foreign intervention that he didn't like. And in 2012, he was not just talking about Iran, but he brought up Russia. What?
Iran is the greatest national security threat we face. Russia does continue to battle us in the UN time and time again. I have clear eyes on this. I'm not going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Mr. Putin. And I'm certainly not going to say to him, I'll give him more flexibility after the election.
Iran today has never been closer to a nuclear weapons capability. It has never posed a greater danger to our friends, our allies, and us, and has never acted less deterred by America, as was made clear last year when Iranian agents plotted to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in our nation's capital. And yet when millions of Iranians took to the streets in June 2009, when they demanded freedom from a cruel regime that threatens the world, when they cried out, "Are you with us or are you with them?" the American president was silent.
And the point I'm making here is he certainly would be no better on Iran. Also, he wouldn't have the same kind of leadership if you look at his track record as a senator, as governor. You think he would have had Roe v. Wade? You think you would have had the landmark Supreme Court case that we've had? Do you think you would have seen the media be highlighted for the sham that it is?
Yeah, exposed.
Do you think he would have pushed back against big tech? Or do you think it would have been same old, same old? This guy was a spineless wiener. Not to mention, when we're going back to foreign policy, if Donald Trump is the worst on foreign policy, this guy has said, President Trump has made clear we want to do this swiftly, violently, and get out. These other people like John McCain, they never even seem to think of that. He never met a war that he didn't like. Here he is singing about it.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran? Bomb, bomb, bomb. Anyway,
yeah, it needs a little bit of work.
He didn't really finish the joke.
No, he didn't. He didn't believe it.
You got to commit to the bit, bro.
You got to commit to it. Paul Ryan. Ugh. First off, the worst cover of any magazine ever. Paul Ryan was at Men's Fitness with him doing his 8-pound dumbbells. It was just embarrassing, and his hairy twig legs.
He's got two first names.
Yeah, don't like him. He was
like
also part of the Gang of 8. Gang of 8, path to citizenship. Refused to fund a border wall. By the way, when Republicans could have done it, just to be clear, when people complain about executive orders, they say they can be undone. Okay, the alternative is we have had times where the Republican Party controlled House and Senate and didn't do anything. Sometimes you guys need to delineate your grievances with the Republican Party refusing to do the bidding of those who voted for them and President Trump's mandate and agenda. So at that point, when you have control over the House and you still can't get it, well, an executive order is better than nothing. See the reduction from 96 to 99% at the border. We effectively have a secure border for the first time. You want to compare Donald Trump to Paul Ryan on foreign policy? It doesn't get any better. You can check all the references. We provide them every single show. He supported drone strikes against al-Qaeda around the world. I mean, unprecedented number of drone strikes. Supported sending troops to Syria to secure chemical weapons. I'm not saying that all of these things, or certainly individual strikes, were inappropriate, but the pattern is they supported all of it. You cannot find a Republican. And by the way, I know people saying Thomas Massie. You know what? We had a Massie.
Whatever.
Rand Paul. We had a libertarian prime. I've had them on the show. We also do have to live in the real world. And that doesn't mean that you're compromising and encouraging bad behavior, because what I'm telling you is the bad behavior, the disloyalty from the Republican Party, the McCains, the Romneys, the Ryans, the Eric Cantors of the world, they led to Trump as a better answer. Is it a perfect answer? No, but it's a much better answer. Anyone who's lived through it, would you agree with that? If you had to pick Romney, McCain, Paul Ryan, or President Trump, J.D. Vance, who would you pick? Where is Paul now, you may ask? Well, we tracked him down. You can do it. Paul can help.
He just looks like a guy who works at Home Depot.
Yeah, pretty much. He really does. Yeah. He looks like a guy who goes to Home Depot but doesn't know how to use the things.
Yeah. No, he looks like he works at Home Depot, but they didn't hire him.
Exactly.
They're like, hey, Mr. Ryan, we told you cannot be here.
Yeah, and you can't wear that apron. Yeah, it confuses the customers.
I brought it from.
You guys understand that's what's waiting in the wings. Not just, is it better than Democrats? Is it better than every Republican we had really in this century? Mitch McConnell recently appeared on Piers Morgan, by the way, had this to say about his upbringing.
Tell me about your early years.
Hey, come on. That's one of the founding fathers, guys.
Yes, exactly.
Good
for his age.
John Boehner. Right?
It's Boehner.
Maybe a decent guy.
He's crying somewhere.
Horrible in office. He was repeatedly cutting deals with Obama. You want to talk compromises? The stripping Tea Party members. Again, the Tea Party was designed to try and bring the GOP back to being limited government, to being actually conservative. He stripped Tea Party members of committee assignments on foreign policy. Let's compare him there. Again, since this is the big betrayal. Of course he supported the Iraq War. Of course he supported military strikes in Syria. We need to be presented with a better alternative, because we're looking at not just Democrats, but a 180 in the Republican Party. Well, okay, what would we pivot to? Eric Cantor.
I forgot about it.
I remember I was there at one of his speaking engagements one time. I didn't go because I knew he was speaking. I was blindsided and I left. Supported path to citizenship, right? Dreamers. Remember that? This is the betrayal. Donald Trump was an answer to the betrayal. I think Ann Coulter said Donald Trump could perform an abortion in the middle of 6th Avenue and I would still vote for him if he secured the border. Yeah. It was a quote to that effect, because we had seen Republicans for so long basically be Democrats light. On foreign policy, of course, you can look at Eric Cantor, supported U.S. military intervention in Syria, pretty much across the board. So I say this because right now people are saying, we're going to lose the midterms. And it's because Donald Trump is the betrayer. Now, it doesn't mean that he can't be a betrayer if other people have been worse betrayers. But I don't think that he has. We don't have a longer track record of anyone that I'm aware of on any individual policy than President Trump on Iran. We have that luxury, like I've said, because he was a celebrity before he was president. You probably wouldn't find Eric Cantor's stance on Iran in the 90s, in the 80s. Mitt Romney, maybe. John McCain, I mean, that guy was ancient, so maybe. But unlikely, most of these politicians. Donald Trump was in the public eye. People can say they disagree with it. They cannot say that he said or in any way implied that he would be soft on Iran or that he would continue the JCPOA. So if he's a betrayer, what's the alternative? And yes, I do think living in the real world matters because you're looking at Democrats or you're looking at same old from the Republican Party. This is the answer. Is it perfect? No. I wouldn't even say baby steps. It's a step in the right direction because it's a step away from Romney, McCain, Cantor, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell. You cannot convince me that Donald Trump is the same as Mitt Romney or John McCain. It's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
And I prefer one. So I would just advise that people be very aware of the decisions you make, the rhetoric out there, right? It will have an effect. And you will end up with exactly who you deserve.